AITA for refusing to let my sister use my wedding dress? Recently, my younger sister was engaged and planning her wedding. She asked if she could wear my custom-made dress. I was taken aback and told her I wasn't comfortable with it because it was very sentimental to me, and I had always planned to preserve it. She accused me of being selfish, has been cold towards me, and got our mom involved. I, 27F, got married 3 years ago in a beautiful ceremony that I spent a lot of time and money planning. My wedding dress was custom-made, and I fell in love with it the moment I saw the final version. It's one of those things I still look at and feel proud of. It holds so many special memories for me. Fast forward to now, my younger sister, 24F, recently got engaged and is planning her wedding. She and I have always been close, but we have different tastes in almost everything. She came over a couple of weeks ago to discuss her wedding plans, and out of nowhere, she asked if she could wear my wedding dress for her big day. I was honestly caught off guard because it wasn't something I ever thought about. I told her I didn't feel comfortable with that because my wedding dress is incredibly sentimental to me, and I had always planned on preserving it. I even said I'd be more than happy to help her find a dress that suited her style, or I could contribute to the cost of a new one if needed. She didn't take it well. She got upset, saying I was being selfish, and that since I'm already married, it shouldn't matter to me anymore. She mentioned that since she's on a tight budget, wearing my dress would help her save a lot of money. I felt terrible, but I stood my ground and told her I wasn't willing to give it up. Now, she's been cold towards me and has even involved our mom, who thinks I'm being unreasonable. She says that I could lend her the dress just for one day and that it wouldn't hurt me to share it with family. I don't know if I'm being overly attached or if my feelings are valid here. I've tried explaining my side, but they don't seem to get it. AITA for refusing to let her use my wedding dress? Should I just lend it to her to keep the peace? Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. You are no longer a child. You no longer live in your mom's house. You no longer have to share your clothes. If you bought it with your own money, you get to do with it whatever you want. Your sister and mom are being entitled and selfish to expect a grown adult to hand over something she bought for herself with her own money. And as for the "you will never wear it again" argument, BS. You could wear it again to renew your vows, to do a little honeymoon role-playing on your anniversary, or dust and sweep your house when you are depressed. You can be buried in it with a sign that your sister is not allowed to touch the dress. It doesn't matter because it is your dress that you bought. Plus, I guarantee your sister will alter, rip, and spill stuff on the dress that she didn't have to pay for. Commenter. Also, if she wears it during her wedding, the likelihood of your getting it back ever are slim. I see it being very easy for those types to claim that now their own sentimental attachment supersedes yours, and parents who just want peace to bully the weaker into accepting it. Commenter. My policy is, as soon as someone starts insulting me, they have lost any chance of getting their request demand granted. Story 2. AITA for refusing to reimburse my broke brother the $60 he lent me. I am financially stable, at least a lot more so than my brother Bob, who at best works a couple months per year. Growing up, it was always our dynamic, so even in high school, I had a job after classes, and thus money. And Bob was broke because he had no income. So Bob stole from me all the time. He was caught red-handed plenty of times. He doesn't even hide it. Our parents are totally aware of it. But they at most roll their eyes and tell him to stop, but they never forced Bob to repay anything he stole from me. After I moved out on my own, I did a tally of how much Bob stole from me, and compounded, it's something like $3,000. I told Bob and our parents, but again, Bob's attitude is, "Haha, you loser. I stole $3,000 from you, and you will never see any of it again. Ha 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 ha." And our parents is, A, the past is in the past, look towards the future, and save up money starting from scratch. Stop stewing over old stories. Last week, the whole family was meeting up, and we went out for drinks at a meadery. I realized only there that I had removed my credit card from my wallet earlier, so I did not have a way to pay. Our mother forced Bob's hand and made him pay for my share too. Funnily, Bob was very insistent that I must promise I will absolutely reimburse him, else he would refuse to pay for my booze. I promised. He paid the $1.60-ish. It was like $57.89 or something for me. Today, Bob sent me the latest in a series of increasingly unhinged texts demanding reimbursement immediately because he is broke and his bank balance is virtually at zero. I find it funny because dozens, if not hundreds of times, the roles were reversed. I was a broke teen and panicking because he stole my entire paycheck and begging him to repay me. And we both knew he would never repay a single cent of what he took from me. So I texted back, previous debt, $3,000. Current debt, $2,940. Bob literally called our mother, and she called me, sounding annoyed, to tell me to reimburse my brother. I explained to her that he has a huge debt towards me, so I won't give him $60. That would just deepen his debt. I will consider his debt lessened by $60 instead. She insisted I had to reimburse him, but I held strong. Mom gave up, and Bob sent a barrage of texts raging at me and saying that as an adult with a good job, I should shrug off a mere $3,000, that he needs that money more than I do, etc. I still refuse to reimburse him. AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter, your mother is the biggest AH. for having a favorite child. Your whole family sounds like shitheads, and I would never speak to any of them ever again. Commenter, just tell him, the past is the past, Bob. I'm busy planning my bright financial future. One where you're not stealing my lunch money? Maybe he should work on his own future instead of chasing after yours, OP. Story 3. New update. AITA for taking my sister's phone away after she called me a pedo at her school. I, 27M, am the guardian of my younger sister, 13F, and I work for the USPS. Lately, I've been on a route that delivers mail to the local middle school and high school, and she happens to go there. Today, I was at the middle school, walking to the main office with the mail, and then suddenly I hear, "Back away, pedo!" And I got really started and looked, and it's my younger sister with her friend. She was laughing, and I told her that wasn't funny, and a nearby teacher came over firmly asking what was happening. I frantically explained I was delivering the mail, and she was my younger sister, who was making a tasteless joke, and my sister was just standing there, enjoying the situation. Fortunately, the teacher heard me and just told my sister and her friend to get back to class. Before she left, I said, "Hey," and she looked and I sternly said, "Give me your phone." And she stopped for a moment and said, "What?" And I told her to give me her phone. She protested at first, but I persisted, and she gave me her phone and seemed really upset and annoyed as she walked away. I got home this afternoon and she was fucking pissed at me. Finally, I got to have a conversation with her about it, and I told her her behavior was completely inappropriate and unacceptable because she very easily could have made me lose my job, which is putting the food in our mouths and clothes, on our backs and roof above our heads, just because she wanted a quick giggle. She continued to persist and pulled the, "Who do you think you are, my parent?" And I said, "I think I'm the person who pays for your cell phone bill and can easily cancel that phone plan anytime they want." She just walked away, and I asked if she was going to eat dinner, or should I put it away, and she flipped me off as she went upstairs, to which I called out, "Yeah, okay, I'm keeping your phone another day." My sister is a big ray of hope in my sea of depression and stress, and the most important thing in my life, and my reason for trudging through this shit job, but holy shit, she can be such a brat sometimes. I'm wondering if maybe I overreacted by taking her phone. Maybe this is a completely separate thing, but sometimes it just feels so weird punishing her. Like, I feel I'm the one who's supposed to help get her out of parental punishments rather than the one asserting them. Ada? TL.TR, I was delivering mail at my sister's middle school, and she saw me, and jokingly said, "Back away, pedo," loud enough for a teacher to get involved, so I told my sister to give me her phone as a consequence, to which she did not respond favorably. Edit. Holy shit, you guys! I wasn't expecting 250 new comments when I opened Reddit after work. I'll look through what I can. Update. So, stuff has happened. First of all, quick update. I delivered mail at her school yesterday and saw the teacher who was involved in the situation and anxiously asked her if anything was going to come of it. She said she admittedly did have a little talk with her after, and based on what my sister said and what she saw of the situation firsthand, she didn't see a need to report it. But she did say if my sister keeps saying stuff like that, she would feel compelled to report it. I almost dropped to my knees thanking her. So I've been thinking of the whole situation for the past 2 days and have been soul-searching or whatever, and decided I'd talk to her again. Now, I worked really late this afternoon and had a pretty draining, upsetting, and really hard, heavy day. I got home rather late, but my sister actually stayed up to wait for me and said she wanted to talk to me. She asked if we could sit down. And then she told me she was really sorry for saying what she did, and she didn't mean to embarrass me or get me fired or anything, and said she was out of line for flipping me off and told me she was sorry for that too. And then she told me she loved me. So I had some stuff I was trying to figure out how to articulate, but she initiated the conversation, so I just threw out what I had even though it was undercooked. I told her I appreciate the apology, but she clearly doesn't understand how serious her joke was. I told her that little joke seriously could have ruined both of our lives, since if the wrong person heard, Child Protective Services would have put her into foster care and forced her to live in some rundown place with potentially dangerous people she's never met. And she would be doing so all alone without me, and I'd potentially be facing legal action and without a job, all because she wanted a little giggle. Then I said I really haven't appreciated her attitude as of late and the way she's been talking to me, and I said some of her behavior is completely inappropriate. I use the flipping me off and making that joke as examples. And while I always will be her big brother, I'm also her parent right now. So I told her I was going to limit her screen time, internet time, and to start, I made the decision I'm going to be giving her a flip phone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where all hell broke loose. She just blankly stared at me for a second and said, "What?" and was asking if I was joking and why would I do that. I did my best to stay firm and just said, "I'm sorry, but that's what's going to happen." And she was begging me and profusely apologizing for her bad attitude, and she asked why I was giving such a harsh punishment for her stupid joke. She actually started crying, and I felt horrible and wanted to tell her, "Actually, I'll think about it." And I felt like such an asshole for not saying that. But then, once she realized I was firm, she switched planes and went into offense mode. She started pinballing between points as to why I can't do this. I'm being controlling, malicious, self-centered, and others. And she also made some cheap and unsavory comments relating to the fact that I recently received an autism diagnosis and questioning the effect that has on my decision-making skills. I think that was the one time I lost my cool in that conversation because I just said ableism, nice. And she said something ridiculous like, "Is it ableism if you're actually being stupid?" And I nodded, said a well-thought-out rebuttal. Some more shit was said, but it ended with her literally screaming and saying I was being unreasonable, and she hates me before going upstairs. That went about as I expected. I'm just really happy she didn't tell me she wished I was dead again, or that she wished she didn't live with me. Pretty low bar, but I was anticipating that. I can live with "I hate you." I don't really have much else to say except God. I can't wait until I can go back to being her brother instead of her parent. So there's the update. One last thing. I just came off my fourth 14-hour day in a row, and I'm low-key fighting to stay awake as I write this, so apologies for any typos. Edit. So I delete the Reddit app before I clock on for work and download it again when I clock off, so I'm not on it at work. And again, I'm overwhelmed by the support. Thank you for the kind comments. Fuck you for the mean ones, though. Relevant comments. Commenter. She asked why I was giving such a harsh punishment for her stupid joke. She didn't stay up to apologize. She stayed up to get her phone back. You're doing the right thing. If she doesn't realize the seriousness of her accusation, because that's what it was, not a joke, then she will do it again and ruin someone's life. All good parents hear that their teenagers hate them at one point or another. You should look into what resources are available to you. She would benefit from a neutral, trustworthy adult to hear this from, and to talk about how to appropriately handle the feelings that accompany such big changes in her life. Commenter. She probably really only apologized to get her phone back, and it didn't go the way she hoped. Her joke could have seriously hurt you and herself, and it's not even funny. Now she's being offensive because you're not giving her what she wants. Hopefully she actually realizes the shit she says, but it seems like she won't until she faces a more serious consequence. You're doing what you can, and the fact you even stepped up to parent her is amazing, and I'm so sorry she doesn't appreciate you the way she should. Story 4. AITA for not wanting to pay my brother's debt after he gambled away our inheritance. A few years ago, my parents passed away and left a decent inheritance for my brother and me. It wasn't millions, but it was enough for us to live comfortably for a while and even make some good investments. We decided to split it 50-50ths, and both agreed that we'd use the money wisely. At least, that's what I thought. Fast forward to a couple of months ago, and my brother confessed he had been gambling with his share. He lost almost all of it, and even got himself into debt. He came to me, crying and begging for my help to pay it off. He said he was overwhelmed, that he made mistakes, and promised he'd never do it again. I love my brother, but I feel like he's made his own mess, and now he needs to deal with it. I didn't want to throw away the safety net my parents left us, because he couldn't control himself. I refused to give him any of my share, and now he's furious. He's been telling the rest of our family that I abandoned him when he needed me most, and some of them agree with him. I'm starting to feel guilty, but I also think it's unfair for me to pay for his poor choices. AITA for refusing to help my brother with his gambling debt. Relevant comments. Commenter. Here's the thing. A will is set in stone unless it's challenged. Your sibling blew his share, you owe nothing. Also, if he makes poor financial decisions with his own money, he'll just do the same with any money Op gives him. Op, if you lost your share of the money, would he split his with you? Commenter. He'll be chasing those bad bets with your good money. I would burn it in front of him before I gave him a penny. NTA. Commenter. Your brother's careless actions are not your fault. It makes sense that you want to safeguard the fortune your parents gave you both, and it is unfair of him to expect you to shield him from the repercussions of his behavior. He must accept accountability for his decisions and grow from this error. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day.